Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Since I got asked this question a good bit, I just figured I would make a quick video about how I prep my images for Instagram. I'm not proclaiming to be some expert on the best way to do this or do that, but what I will do is show you how I prepare my images before I post them on Instagram to hopefully be just a little more eye-catching as people are scrolling through their feeds. So we'll look at probably, I guess maybe the 4 top things I do to my images before posting, right after we roll that intro. All right, everyone, real quickly, I just want to thank the sponsor for this video, like I'm a big YouTube channel, but I do want to say that this video is partially sponsored by the people that support me over on Patreon. I just want to thank everyone that has joined me on that platform, which provides me the time to make more of these videos and hopefully enhances the production value as much as someone like I can on here. But I want to thank everyone once again over there. I've got several different tiers. My one-on-one mentorship level has been sold out now, but what I'm planning on doing is probably opening 2 more spots on that level when I release this video. So if you're interested in that, please come join us over there on Patreon. Within those Zoom calls, I've discussed things such as websites, marketing. I've done actual Photoshop retouching on some folks' their own images. We've discussed specific lighting setups for upcoming shoots that people might have. It's really, there's no limit. It's a one-on-one, just like it says, for 30 minutes on Zoom, and we can talk, discuss whatever it is that you'd like to do. All right, so enough of that. Let's jump into Instagram, and I'll run through some tips that I use with my images before I post them on that platform. You know, Instagram is kind of a love-hate type of thing, at least for me, but it is a necessary evil in this business. A lot of people that are out there looking to hire photographers, that might be the first place they discover you. So I think it's very important that you not only put good work on Instagram, but you present that work in the best light possible within the framework of that app. So with that being said, let's jump in. I'll show you kind of what I like to do. The first thing that I do, and I probably think this is the most important, is I upload my images at twice the resolution that Instagram recommends. It's natively, it's a 4:5 portrait format. And so I try to use images that work in that, or you'll see if you scroll my feed that I also kind of double up the horizontal ones, but we'll stick to portrait on this in this video. Natively, their resolution I recommend is 1080 by 1350. And so what I do is double that. I take it to 2160 by 2700. And we'll jump onto my computer and I'll kind of show you why I do that. But the main thing is, a couple years ago, Instagram implemented where you can pinch and zoom into images. And so, you know, if you put a really cool image up, and if you're like me, I like to pinch and zoom and check out the details within that image, and it's kind of disappointing when you do that and the image starts to fall apart. So that's where the extra resolution really pays off when you're trying to do that. So let me start recording here. So on here, you can see this is a zoomed in portion of actually the actual image that I just put up on Instagram. And I've got a patch here where you can see the stitching and, you know, these, all the Velcro and all the details here. So what I did is I downsized this to the native resolution, and then I brought it back up to twice the resolution, which is basically the same as if you know, when Instagram, there is compression, but this would kind of replicate that. So when someone tries to pinch and zoom on your image at the recommended resolution, this is kind of what they're going to see. And you'll see just the loss in detail. You don't even know that these are stars. I hope you can see this on your screen, whatever you're watching this on. But this is before, this is the way I put it up, and then this is kind of what it would look like if you've just stuck to the native 1080 by 1350. So a huge difference, and I think it even looks better when you're not even zooming. So if people always, when they write me, it's the question is, how do your images look so sharp and crisp on Instagram? And I think this is a really big part of it. And this just kind of shows you the difference in how it looks when you zoom into those images. Okay, but now we'll jump into my process. I'm trying to keep this video somewhat short after my marathon last video. So when I go to start my post, I will open up a canvas here, and you'll see image size. Here it is, 2160 by 2700 at 72 resolution. And let's go here. We'll grab this image. So when I do something like this, if this is my retouch, I will just combine everything, combine all into a layer with the Shift Option Command E, and it gives me a layer here. So then I can just take it from my image file and drag it onto the layout for Instagram. Like I said, which is a 4x5. So if your image is not natively 4x5, which this one is not, you will have to also do some cropping, and that will play into how your image is going to look on Instagram as well. So you've got to kind of sometimes creatively crop your images. Let me zoom back in here. And so you'll see we'll lose a portion of the length of this image. And so we kind of have to figure out what you want to keep in. I think we'll go with the top of his helmet there. We got 4 of these lines from the backdrop, and we still kind of have the end of the gun point there. So I'm gonna stick it right here. This image is already pretty dynamic, but when you're looking on a screen, you wanna, within the realm of good taste, I guess you would say, you want to kind of amp up, at least I do. And all of this is just my own experience. Like I said, I'm not an expert on Instagram or anything like that, but what I like to do is give my images as much punch as I can for that small format that people are looking at on their screen. So for instance here, we've got a lot of light and dark values. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate that layer, and we're gonna take it into high pass. And I'm gonna crank it to, I'm just gonna take it right here where it is at 59 pixels. So, and then we'll drop this down to soft light, and you can see this gives it a tremendous amount of punch, and it's probably a little too much. And I wouldn't use it on a larger platform like my website and stuff like that. I would not use an image with this much punch, because once you kind of go in, you'll see there's some grain and stuff, some haloing that we don't want. But so I'm gonna take the opacity of that layer down to like 65%, and then zoom in. There's really no haloing. What you wanna do is check around haloing around some of the edges. I don't see really anything that's gonna jump out to anyone, but you can see what a visual impact just that has on it. So just a great example of something you can do there. So it's a high pass layer on a double resolution image, flatten it, and then I airdrop it straight to my phone, and then upload it to Instagram. All right, let's pull up a second image here. So this is one of the ones I did for the Naval Academy. We will drag that over on top of that layout from my previous example. And so here, obviously we're gonna have to do some cropping. Once again, this is where you're gonna have to kind of figure out what you wanna keep in that portrait layout. And I think as long as we get maybe just a little bit of that highlight up top, I'm gonna lose a little bit of the water in the front, and then we kind of have to play with the flag a little bit there. Let me zoom back in. So I might take it like right. Now let's go like right there for this one. All right, and so an image like this one here, I've got like a lot of water going on, a lot of little details that are going on. So maybe when I look at this, I instantly think that, and I instantly kind of know that if I apply some sharpening to this image, that things will pop a little bit more, especially on the smaller format that we're talking about. So there are two ways to do this. You can do a high pass filter, which will do the same kind of thing we're gonna do here, but for difference. But on this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to sharpen, and I like to use the Smart Sharpen for these types of images. And so what I do is I normally set them out at 100%. I do put a little bit of reduced noise on here, and then I have lens blur for the blur. And so what we'll do is we'll adjust the radius. And for this example, you can kind of see it in that little window, see those water droplets popping, but we'll go at 0.8 pixels. And I created a different layer so I can adjust that opacity if I need to, but you can see it's really picking up all the little fine details around the image, all these little teeny little water drops, and brings it that crispness that y'all ask me about. All right, so, and I kind of like it like that. I don't think we might be a little bit over sharpened on the helmet and stuff, so I can bring a layer mask in. And so, right in there, kind of do that. If you pick up any kind of haloing around edges, then you want to mask that out. But we look pretty clean on this one at that amount of sharpness. So what I would do there, once again, just flatten that image and save it, obviously, and airdrop it to my phone. So let's do one more, since this one is a good bit different. So what I've done already is combined all on a layer. I'm gonna drag it over here to our pre-formatted double resolution, 2160 by 2700 for those of you that need to hear it again. And once again, we have to kind of work on our crop here. And obviously we wanna keep, this is Tobin Heath, we wanna keep all of her limbs in on this image. And there we go, I think. So I think that is, I'm kind of recenter her a little bit. It's kind of tough on this trackpad. All right, but we'll call it a day right there. And for an image like this, another great thing for small format like Instagram, at least I've found, is bringing in like a vignette. So I think this image, everything else is pretty, this is one of those more natural, this is basically just the sunlight and I had a bounce on the other side of her. So it's a very natural looking image. And so I didn't want levels. Let me go to curves. And so I'm just gonna draw down everything with the curves adjustment. And then I'm gonna invert that mask. So you can see it here, it's a black mask. Let me get rid of this so I'm not getting confused. So now what I'll do is I will go in and then paint with white where I want this vignette. So maybe this field looking a little bit darker, just around here. Probably more on this side because the sun is coming from this angle over here. And then obviously we can adjust the opacity of that brush. We can maybe bring in a little bit on this sky up here. So I'm getting just a little more detail. So that might be a little strong, but you kind of get the idea when that one, so we take it down to about 70%. And so what that's gonna do in that small format, when someone's scrolling through Instagram, that's gonna take their eye straight to the center of this image. So this is gonna be the main focus. You can also kind of do a reverse vignette. I don't think this really necessarily needs it, but I'll show it just because we're in here. The blacks on that are a little bit blown out because I've got a flare in this lens, so it's probably not the best one to show, but so I inverted that mask as well. And then you could come in here and paint some highlights on like her arm, side of her face, maybe right here. You can maybe hit this ball. I don't want to hit the field there because that gives away what we've done. Hit the logo, maybe her shoe right here. So that gives a little bit of a pop there. So just another thing you can do when you're trying to come up with ways to catch people's eyes. So that is super quick. And let me combine these. We can see what just a couple of curve layers will do, for an image to draw just a little more visual impact. And so once again, I would flatten that layer and airdrop it to my phone. All right, a quick tip: when you get the image into your phone and you pull it into Instagram, and you're looking at putting your post together, as you can kind of see here on my phone, what you definitely need to do, or what you have to do if you don't want it to crop, is you have to hit this little bracket button down here in the bottom left. And you can see it right there. Before you had to manually squeeze it in, but now they put this bracket button in. But make sure you hit that bracket button. And if you're doing a gallery of images, you want to bracket that and then add the other images in, and it'll also treat them the same way. So you would bracket that image in, and then it'll expand out. And you take it basically as you normally would. Let's go here. So, and then you'll see how it does, it fills the full area that Instagram allows you for that portrait setup on the app there. So I hope these tips help y'all with your IG game. If you like this video and feel like you learned something, please give me that thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more videos like that, hit that subscribe button down there and the bell so YouTube will let you know when I'm here. Any other questions, comments, please feel free to leave those down there. I do my best to read all those and respond. Y'all remember to please stay safe and healthy out there, and I hope to be here once again in the next one.